Well, everyone, I've got some bad news to share with you all. It turns out that possibly in about 15 months, depending on how things go next November, I, along with many others in this industry, many others across the country, could be locked in a mental institution. That is, of course, according to Donald Trump, if he has his way and if he wins next year's presidential election. In a post on Truth Social this week, Donald Trump announced that he was going to be locking up people like Jack Smith, people like the folks at the Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington group, and pretty much any radical left thug out there. We're all going to be locked in mental institutions if he wins election next year. Here's what he said. Deranged Jack Smith, Andrew Weissman, Lisa Monaco, the team of losers and misfits from CREW, Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, and all the rest of the radical left zealots and thugs who have been working illegally for years to take me down will end up, because of their suffering from a horrible disease, Trump Derangement Syndrome, TDS, in a mental institution by the time my next term as president is successfully completed. So it may not be 15 months, right? He says by the time his next term is completed, so maybe I got a couple years left. You know, those will be good years. I get to see my kids grow up a little bit more before I'm locked away by Donald Trump. And, you know, hopefully you'll keep watching. Hopefully I get locked up before you do. Of course, we don't really know the timeline on that. So, hey, maybe we could be cellmates. That seems like fun, right? This is horrific. This is terrifying. Because I don't think this dude's joking. Donald Trump is not exactly a jokester. He's not one to go out there and, you know, crack wise about the news of the day. When he says things, we have to take them very seriously. And this is, of course, not even the first time this week that Donald Trump has suggested locking up his critics, the people prosecuting him, the judges. He wants to lock everybody up. Like, he is screaming it from the rooftops that if you are not in love with him, you're going to be locked up in some kind of facility. Maybe in those, camps that he's going to start. Maybe it's a mental institution. Maybe it's a prison. He suggested all three within the last 5 days. So I don't know where we'll end up, but it's probably not going to be very fun. But we have to take this seriously, right? This isn't something that we should even be joking about. And honestly, I'm not exactly joking. I think he's being honest, and I do think that each and every one of us has a giant target on our backs. Not just me, but you. Everybody that is not a member of the Trump cult. We are at risk if this man makes it back to the White House. Now, as for the Trump Derangement Syndrome, it's obviously not a real thing, but it's a lazy and tired talking point that actually dates back roughly 20 years. You see, in the Bush administration, George W. Bush, that is when progressive media actually emerged here in the United States. I was a part of that when it, first launched. And so everybody on the right was saying that those of us that were working at Air America at the time, in the progressive media, they always accused us of having BDS, which is Bush Derangement Syndrome. And so it's always just evolved. Whoever the leading Republican is of the day, the liberals have blank derangement syndrome. So it's not something new with Trump. They've been leveling this charge at us for, again, 20 years now. And it's just as stupid today as it was back then. But Donald Trump would be the first one to be in a position to perhaps, I don't know, have whoever he appoints as his not attorney general, or surgeon general, say, you know what, I'm actually going to try to classify this as a legitimate derangement syndrome. I'm going to try to classify this in a way that we could lock people up for it. And again, I don't think this is hyperbole. I think these are things that Donald Trump would legitimately try to do. When he tells us that he wants to lock up anyone that ever goes against him, we have to believe that he is telling the truth for once in his life. Hey everyone, this is Aspen. And did you know that for the low cost of $0 per day, you can subscribe to the Fair and Balanced YouTube channel? We also encourage you to like, comment, and share. But again, click that subscribe button and help Aspen not be so grumpy.